Cameras are wonderful creations that help us capture our most special moments. But sometimes they also capture some truly chilling pictures that absolutely no one can explain.
This rock shouldn't be there. Somehow it moved.
In this video, we'll be exploring 30 photos that have been taken in the past and which remain pretty difficult for scientists to put their finger on. Number 1. Cooper's corpse. You know that feeling when you get into a new home and you're excited about it? For most of us, the first thing we do when we move into a new home is to take a picture. And that's definitely how one family felt back in the mid-20th century. The Cooper family, as reports explain, bought a house in Texas. Excited, they decided to take a picture of themselves in the house's dining room. But when the picture was processed and brought out, instead of the happy family being on display, everyone was horrified to find this. What do you see hanging from the ceiling there? An animal? A human body? Who the heck knows? This picture, which ended up being termed Mr. Cooper's corpse, became a viral hit amongst a lot of conspiracy theorists. Many claim that it must have been a body that fell out of the roof at the perfect time, leading to the incredibly disturbing image you see here. But considering there is no way to even contact the family that took the picture, it's pretty difficult to know what happened here. Number 2. Dalen Pua's last pic. Nicknamed Moke by those who knew him, Dalen Pua was an 18-year-old who went missing in February 2015 following a hike in Hawaii. Despite his grandmother's vocal disapproval, Dalen decided to go ahead with a hike in the famous Haiku Stairs. And well, that was the last anyone ever heard of him. According to reports, Dalen had been sharing pictures of his hike with his family from his phone. But at some point, he stopped. And that was it. Well, what happened to Dalen? To this day, no one knows. But the clues might be hidden in one of the pictures he shared. Do you see anything weird here? No? Well, let's zoom in, shall we? That appeared to be a man who had moved off the beaten path and was crouching behind a bush. No one knows who that man is, and over the years, many people have speculated that he must have known what happened to Dalen. To date, though, we can't say for sure. Number 3. Lord Combramere's ghost. Our next photo was taken in 1891 at the house of one Miss Sybil Corbett. And from the image alone, you can kind of see what's wrong here. If you're thinking the man sitting on the chair looks pretty transparent, you'd be right. There was absolutely no one sitting on that chair. So who the heck is the guy in the image? Number 4. The Hessdalen Lights. The subject of aliens is definitely still up with the jury. But for the people of the Hessdalen Valley region in Norway, there's definitely a reason to believe that something strange is going on in the skies. Here we see what I can only describe as a strange light pattern forming in the midnight sky. I know it's easy to say that maybe it's lightning, but I don't think I've ever seen a lightning pattern be so aggressive and so thick. Is it an alien spaceship? Is it a message from other worlds? We don't know, but the Hessdalen Lights are definitely a beauty to behold. Number 5. The ghost of Freddie Jackson. As you can imagine, there are several thousand photos depicting the activities that took place in World War I. But I don't think there's any that really beats our next photo. Here we see a group photo taken by members of the Royal Naval Air Service. While the photo seems normal, zooming in will leave you in absolute shock. According to reports, that ghostly appearance is the face of Freddie Jackson, a mechanic who sadly died just 2 days before that photo was taken. To make things even spookier, his funeral was said to have occurred on the very day when this photo was taken. So how on earth is it possible that a deceased man found himself in a group photo? Some skeptics have claimed this was just the result of double exposure or mistaken identity. But I don't know. Something feels fishy here too. Number 6. Solway First Spaceman. Captured by Englishman Jim Templeton in 1964, this picture here caused a massive controversy back in the day. The picture captured Templeton's daughter with a figure that appeared to be standing behind her and wearing a spacesuit. But get this, there was no figure behind Templeton's daughter when he took this picture. Even experts at Kodak have confirmed the picture's authenticity. Now, who could that mischievous fella be? To date, nobody knows. Number 7. Time-traveling woman. For years, many have hypothesized that it is indeed possible to travel in time, with others even pointing out possible instances where time travel has indeed occurred. Well, What if this is one such incident? Yep, that right there is a picture of a woman holding what appears to be a mobile phone. The picture looks normal and stuff until you realize that it was actually taken in the 1930s, a period that was at least a few decades before mobile phones became a thing. So how on earth was this woman holding a phone? Was she a time traveler? Who knows? Number 8. The Madonna. Painted in the 15th century, the Madonna with St. Giovannino is easily one of the most popular works of art ever. However, it has also gone down to be one of the most controversial artworks, and simply looking at a picture of it will tell you why. When you look above Mary's right shoulder in the image, you see a dark object that appears to look like a disc. Considering its unique shape, some have hypothesized that it could have been Ghirlandaio depicting a UFO that he saw. I mean, what if the old artist really did see aliens? Number 9. The Watertown Ghosts. In 1924, a vessel called the SS Watertown was on a voyage from the Panama Canal to New York City. Along the journey, two men named James Courtney and Michael Meehan sadly died from gas poisoning while cleaning the water tank. Following normal maritime tradition, the men were buried at sea, but several crew members continued claiming they had been seeing the men's faces in the water. Eventually, the captain ordered for photographs to be taken, and amongst the pictures taken was this one. The picture shows what appears to be two faces appearing alongside the ship, and even after extensive scrutiny, no explanation has been reached for why this phenomenon occurred. Number 10. Underwater phenomenon. The sea is easily one of the biggest mysteries of our world. It houses thousands of life forms, and even with all of our exploration, there are probably thousands of other creatures living in the depths of the sea that we don't know. So what would you describe this as then? This photo has actually caused a lot of controversy. Many people believe it to have been Photoshopped, but here's the thing. It was taken back in 1965, way before the invention of Photoshop. According to reports, a man named Robert Laserick noticed a suspicious object close to Hook Island in Australia. He immediately took a photo of it, although no one knows what it could have been. Was it a rouge wave? Was it some massive sea monster? Let us know in the comments. Number 11. Archaic beach photo. Fashion is one of the most dynamic things ever. And just like eras change, fashion tends to be pretty dynamic too. So when this photo of a man at a beach in the 1930s went viral, there was a bit of an upset amongst internet folks. Unlike the other beachgoers who were covered up, this man spotted some pretty modern attire. The possible explanations have varied, but despite all attempts to explain it logically, there doesn't seem to be one that sticks when you consider this entire setting. Number 12. Hiroshima Mon. When the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima in 1945, the entire world stood still. But in the aftermath of this action, one picture that was taken from the wreckage of the Japanese town resonated more with people than others. What you see here isn't a reflection. It's literally a shadow that has been baked into the concrete by the intense heat of the nuclear explosion. No matter how much you clean it, it just says, now that's a man who doesn't want history to forget him. Number 13. Spirit Woman. For our next clip, we'll be going back in time to 1975, when a woman known as Diane Berthelot visited St. Mary's Church in Wanstead, England, with her son and her husband. While Diane sat in the church, her husband decided to take a picture of her, but he was absolutely stunned when he saw the outcome of what he had just snapped. For those who might be unclear, Diane's husband confirmed that there was no one behind her when he took the picture. So, what on earth was that image? Well, no one knows, although the picture has apparently been dubbed the White Lady of Wanstead Church. Number 14. Black Night. If we're looking at places that are mysteries to us, then I don't think there's any that's as vast as outer space. The largesse of space is a constant reminder that the Earth really is just a small part of our entire universe. And although humans have been looking for signs of extraterrestrial life for decades, every now and then we get clues that suggest that we might not be alone after all. In 1960, artificial satellites in space captured this unidentified object. Specialists at NASA immediately named the object Black Knight, and ever since it was first captured, it has appeared and disappeared from detection several times. To date, we have no idea what it is. Some say the Black Knight is just space junk, while others believe it must be some sort of alien vessel sent to spy on our planet. For now, I'll leave the guessing games to the experts. Number 15. Lady of the Lighthouse. Lighthouses have always been fascinating to me, and the St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida, one of the oldest lighthouses in America, is especially notable for a haunting reason. Over the years, many people have reported seeing what looks like a ghost standing at the very top of this lighthouse. And one day, a person was quick enough to actually capture what they meant on camera. Many have claimed that this figure is the spirit of Maria Mestre de los Dolores Andreu, the first female lighthouse keeper in the country, who tragically died after falling off the lighthouse tower. Number 16. Skunk ape. The skunk ape is a humanoid creature that became quite popular in Florida in the 70s and 80s. Several people around the state reported seeing a large creature that looked like a cross between a human and an ape. And although these claims would continue to rack up time after time, the fact that no one could prove it meant that they were eventually ignored. All of this changed in 2000 when someone anonymously sent 2 photographs to a police station in Saratoga County. The image showed what appeared to have been the ape-like creature baring its teeth at the camera. And with the camera's flash effect, its eyes shimmered in the night. As you would imagine, the image went absolutely viral. But even at that, authorities have yet to identify if the skunk ape is truly real. Number 17. The Spectre of Newby Church. Ever seen those movies where churches get haunted? I know it might be a cliche, but what if I told you that this stuff apparently happens in real life as well? For our next photo, we'll be taking you all the way to the Newby Church in North Yorkshire. The church has been standing for quite a while now, although it appears to have been deserted for at least a few decades. Why? Well, as it turns out, several people reported seeing what appeared to have been a ghostly image in the church's hall. And in 1963, someone managed to capture what looked like a ghost there. To make this image even spookier, several photographic experts actually confirmed that it was indeed real. And as you can imagine, absolutely no one has been able to give a definitive explanation for what the heck this image even is. Number 18. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Still on the subject of ghostly apparitions in old buildings, our next photo is related to Raynham Hall, an old-timey building in Norfolk, England that has been the seat of the Townsend family for 4 centuries. On September 19, 1936, photographers on assignment at this building captured what has gone on to be arguably the most popular example of spirit photography. The photo was eventually published in County Life magazine. It was believed to have been the ghost of Lady Dorothy Walpole, an 18th century mistress of the manor. But even if it was, does this image finally prove that ghosts are, in fact, real? Because if it does, then I think we have a lot more catching up to do with these otherworldly figures. Number 19. Bigfoot. Forget the Loch Ness Monster or the Chupacabra. Bigfoot is probably the most popular is he or isn't he creature of our time. For many years, several people have claimed that they've seen Bigfoot, a massive animal that looks like an ape, but also possesses human-like traits. As you would imagine, the fact that there is no conclusive proof of its existence means that a lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot. But a few years ago, someone posted this clip to the internet, completely changing the opinions of a lot of people. Now, I know you might be thinking that this is just some regular ape, but keep in mind that most apes walk with bent postures, while this creature is walking as straight as a regular man. Plus, it looks pretty tall and slender to be a gorilla, if you ask me. So what then is it? Well, my guess is as good as yours on this one. Sure looks like Bigfoot heading home after wreaking some major havoc. Number 20. The McMinnville UFO. In May 1950, Oregon farmer Paul Trent took this photo of what appears to be a flying saucer hovering over the sky. Trent claimed that he had spent some time watching and tailing the UFO he saw before taking pictures of it. And while there's no proof that it really is a UFO, there also isn't any proof that it's not. Number 21. Pyramids in Antarctica. Due to the massive cold and the logistical nightmare involved in navigating the region, many scientists have yet to really explore the length and breadth of Antarctica. That said, there have been several photos that suggest that this region could also hold some interesting secrets, such as this one. Captured by satellite imagery, this clip shows what appears to be a four-sided flute peeking out of a frozen mass in Antarctica. And ever since the image was released, many have speculated that it could be a pyramid. The possibility of pyramids being in Antarctica is one that many people have entertained for years now. According to these guys, the pyramids in Antarctica could be even larger than those in the Egyptian deserts. And they could even give us clues as to who built the Egyptian pyramids in the first place. Were they aliens? Were they some advanced civilization? Or were they just natural phenomena? For now, no one knows, and considering how difficult it is to actually conduct any studies or research on Antarctica, there's a chance that we might never actually know. Number 22, UFO residue. With our next photo, we're getting back on the UFO wave. Back in the late 60s, a Polish man living in Canada reportedly came home from a trip with some strange burns on his chest. According to reports, the man, whose name was Stefan, went to the hospital to get the burns checked, but was shocked when the doctors told him that they had never seen something like this before. When they asked him what had happened on his trip, Stefan claimed that he had been out prospecting rocks when he saw two UFOs. Stefan added that he thought the UFOs were experimental aircraft made by the American Army, so he began drawing them. After drawing, he moved towards the aircraft and yelled in the craft's direction, asking if they needed any help. Immediately, they flew into the air, blasting him with an unknown substance. Just like that, the scars showed. Considering that no one was with Stefan, we can't exactly verify what he was saying. But the man lived on for over 30 years after this incident, and his story never changed. Could he have been the only man in recent history with relatively substantial UFO knowledge? Who knows? Number 23, Peeking Freddy. What do you see here? 3 kids playing around a chair with a man walking behind them and peeking at them, right? Well, here's the thing. That man absolutely does not exist. While you might think this was just some man, the people who took the picture claim that no one walked by when it was being taken. Certainly not a man with a trench coat and a hat. Interestingly, the ghostly appearance kind of looks like a creepy silhouette of Freddy Krueger. Still, I'm pretty sure this photo was taken long before the character was even invented. I'd sure pay good money to find out who was in that ghost, though. Number 24, Battle of Los Angeles. When you look at this photo, you'll probably see something pretty normal. While it might seem like a bunch of lights pointing at the sky, this photo and its origins have actually been pretty controversial. For one, this photo was taken in Los Angeles just 3 months after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor and kickstarted America's involvement in World War II. When the picture was taken, many believed that it must have been some second attack by the Japanese on the United States. Well, it ended up not being one. But we also never got an official explanation from anybody as to what those lights in the sky were. Number 25, the Baltic Sea anomaly. Back in 2011, an oceanic exploration team from Sweden found a rather peculiar formation on the floor of the Baltic Sea. The object, which was dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly, had a diameter of roughly 60 feet, and it appeared to rest on a pillar that stood about 8 meters above the seafloor. Some have claimed that the Baltic Sea anomaly could have been a Nazi sub or even a UFO that crashed centuries ago. But despite numerous expeditions, there has been no concrete explanation for what it actually is. Number 26, the Sailing Stones of Death Valley. Deep in the massive landmass that is California's Death Valley is a phenomenon that has had scientists itching their heads for years: the sailing stones. The sailing stones are found on Racetrack Playa, a dried-up lake bed in the valley, and they range in size from small pebbles to massive boulders as heavy as 700 pounds. But while we know what they are, we have absolutely no idea how they got there and assumed their position. Interestingly, the sailing stones also tend to move on their own, as evidenced by the sand-filled trails they usually leave behind them. And as you can imagine, scientists don't know when or how this movement happens. Number 27, Babushka Lady. One of the most consequential moments in the 20th century was the murder of President John F. Kennedy. But besides the fact that a sitting president was assassinated, this moment was also famous for the Babushka Lady. Known for her headgear, this woman appeared in several videos of this fateful day. She appeared to have been standing still, while others ran for cover, and to date, no one has been able to identify her. Considering that she was standing so close to JFK, the babushka lady just might be the only one who has clear footage of his death. But oh well, I guess some things are just meant to be left buried. Number 28. Modern-day hipster. Still don't believe that time traveling can be real? Well, take a look at this photograph. Despite being taken in the 1940s, this picture depicts a man with a pretty modern sense of style. Or am I the one tripping? You tell me. Number 29. The pteranodon. The question of whether prehistoric animals are still in existence is one that many have asked time and again. Well, in 1964, this picture was released, giving a lot of credence to the argument that they really do exist. This here is a group of American soldiers who claim to have shot down a massive creature near Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the animal sure looks like a pteranodon, a massive winged reptile that is said to have gone extinct tens of millions of years ago. Does this mean that such a creature survived into the modern era? Well, who knows? Number 30. Mabel's grandma. In March 1959, a woman named Mabel Chinnery went with her husband to a nearby graveyard in Suffolk, England, to visit her mother's remains. When the two got back to the car, Mabel took a picture of her husband, and this was what they got. As you would imagine, no one else was in the car with Mabel's husband when she took the photo. So it begs the question, who the heck was that in the back seat? Mabel reportedly took this as a final goodbye from her mother, but come on, this is incredibly creepy if you ask me. Right? Our world just keeps getting stranger and stranger, people, and these photos clearly show that. What do you think, though? Do aliens actually exist? Are ghosts real? Let us know in the comments.